Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload is going to be a video about the long range outlook. I did one 2 days ago, so I decided it's about time for another video about the long range. So before we get into this video, consider subscribing, consider liking this video. Also, I have a favor for you guys, if you guys would want to support this channel, this program is free. The ads are basically gone completely. I do 1 or 2 ads per video, and that's just, you don't have to pay for that. But if you'd like to support this channel in terms of monetary value, $1 or 2 or 3 or 4, you could click on the link in the description. That's Patreon, and all you could do is consider supporting this channel on Patreon. That basically just, continues this channel going. Last year I got demonetized for a little bit. Basically I couldn't earn money, and that that might happen again this year. So just as a fear of that, let's consider doing that. So thank you so much for doing that. If you did so, it's completely optional though. So right now we're looking at the GFS. Notice how there's a tropical storm. Probably it's gonna relieve definitely a lot of rain across the southeast, but is it gonna relieve a lot of winds and damage? We don't know. I mean, it's becoming stronger. The models are hinting at it becoming stronger and stronger as we go forward, but it's going to be a definite rainmaker for a good portion of Virginia, Maryland, North Carolina. Maybe not Maryland, but Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and into Georgia and basically the Gulf Coast. Notice then how we see a big ridge. So we see a warm up across the central portion of the country across the weekend, and that will be really nice and pleasing. 60s, 70s as far north as Chicago, kind of Iowa, the Illinois, Wisconsin border, the Indiana, Michigan border, 60s, possibly even 70s. So, but then you could see this big storm kind of erupts, maybe not as big as we previously thought it would be, maybe a little bit weaker. The isobars are going to be pretty tightly packed though, so some strong winds behind us are going to be coming through, and notice how it brings a nice chill behind it, possibly some frost advisories, freeze warnings for these locations. However, the Arctic chill behind it isn't as impressive as it seemed to be, because right after that we could see another storm, or at least a storm that tries to develop, and this really brings a little bit of warmer temperatures back into place. But then after that one, you could see the newest model run shows a good shot of colder air, and you could see that's marked by the 2-meter temperature anomalies. Let's go to the other model run, the one that's already fully in progress. And let's just look at the MSLP and precip. This one is, goes through 384 hours. So let's see what this one shows. You can see very similar, very nice cold air behind it. Seems to stick around for a while. This is now by next weekend, next Monday, not the one that's upcoming. Tomorrow's Friday, not that one, but the upcoming one. Not the upcoming one, the one a week from this upcoming one. And you can see it's a little bit of warm up, but then we see another cool down, some possible snowstorm for the northeast. That would be really interesting to see, and you can see that dips down into the U.S. while it warms back up, but then we can see another dip. So it seems like this pattern will be progressive. That's what it's called usually, when it's a difference, when the troughs and the ridges are kind of followed one after the other. There's a trough, there's a ridge, there's a ridge, there's a trough, there's a trough, you know what I mean. And basically that's what we're going to be looking at, but mainly dominated by the troughs, and that's why it's going to be a little bit cooler than average for the majority of the time, rather than warmer than average. Let's look at the GEFS ensembles, a bunch of ensemble models put together. You can see this is what they're showing for now. Hour 1 through up to hour 120, kind of like the average. You can see a little bit warmer across the U.S., central U.S., chillier across the southeast and northwest. This is kind of like that remaining cool shot. This is the upcoming one. This is kind of the one that where the storm is, and this is where the warm air will be brought up by that big storm. However, look at that cold air comes in behind it and kind of maintains itself. And the GEFS ensembles are actually very aggressive with this. Maybe not the magnitude of the cold, but I mean, look at the wide span area of how cold this may be, from literally Maine, the furthest east point of Maine, up to the northwest. May be very chilly, excluding parts of the southwest like California, Nevada, Arizona. May be a little bit warmer, but otherwise a good portion of the country cold. And that's what we may be seeing this winter overall. It seems like this pattern may be very repeatable throughout the winter, and we could see, what that exactly brings. This is a European model run. You could see Chile across the east after that big bomb cyclone across the northeast happened over the yesterday, really, and today it's still going on. But notice a little bit of warm up with that storm that may be occurring on Monday and Tuesday. But then we see a nice little trough right behind it, some cooler air. Then we see another one spin through, and this European is showing almost like it would be a system, some sort of possibly a storm system occurring right here, which would be interesting to see what exactly happens with it, with possibly another one coming afterwards. So both models are pretty cold. They're showing very chilly conditions, very cold biased, and maybe not biased, just very cold, leaning towards the colder or resolutions, I guess, the colder colder outcomes. And you can see 6 to 10 day outlook. I mean, it's chilly or below normal for a good portion of the country, excluding the extreme portions of the northeast where there may be a little bit of impact of the storms bringing in the warm air from the oceans. Parts of the southeast, extreme, like basically just Florida by itself, and extreme parts of southeastern Georgia, maybe a little bit above, and then the southwest. But overall, look at that. 90, I would say 85% of the country is below average, and you can see precip above average for the east. So if you live in the east, southeast, the mid-Atlantic, and you've been dry, you're going to get what you've been waiting for. You're going to get quite a bit of precip, and I think that's really good news for you guys, as I've been getting a lot of comments, and many people want that cold or that precip, and I think that's what you'll be getting. But overall, a very unique pattern. I mean, October 25th through the 31st, you can see, again, very chilly conditions across a good portion of the U.S., excluding parts of the Southwest and basically the same locations. And the below average expands a little bit towards the east, but still above average for the eastern U.S. So that is very good news for the East Coast, as they have been dry, or at least parts of the Mid-Atlantic and Southeast. And this is just, exciting stuff, if you will, the long range. We're looking at very cold scenarios. It maybe not be, so late in the season. Like, if this was November and we saw these same temperature contrast stuff below normal, then we would be looking at, some snowfall, some significant snowfall. But at this time, we may be seeing, the lake effect machines turn on, like the lake effect snow across the Great Lakes with this cold air. But it seems like the big snowstorms will still be rather kept away from, full fruition. Now, that's obviously not, 100%. We may see a big snowstorm occur out of this cold air, but at this point, it seems, again, look at that, like right here, a little bit of snow showers. Mainly the big story will be the cold. The GFS wants to put out a storm system. They were putting one out earlier with the other model runs across the northeast. You can see right there, this is very far out, but next week, Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, kind of, you can see possibly across the northeast, and then the lake effect just goes crazy. But we'll have to see exactly what occurs with that. May or may not occur, but we have to see. And in terms of, again, the 2-meter temperature shaded, they'll be definitely going downhill. You can see definitely widespread frost and freezes for a good portion of the country. This is actually Halloween Thursday, and you can see it seems very cold, very chilly Halloween for a good part. I mean, look, this is during the day for Halloween, 30s, 40s, 50s if you go towards the south. Overall, very cold Halloween this year. So maybe not, horrible conditions for trick-or-treating, but I wouldn't say prime, really, as they're just going to be cold. Even if it's, not raining, it's just the absolute worst when it's like 39 degrees and it's raining. We'd rather be snowing, but when it's just cold, that's bad enough. Your hands are going to be cold. You can't really, you're going to be walking outside. Maybe if you run or walk fast enough, you may be kept warm. But you'll have to bundle up, which always just, is a negative, as your costume is kind of like the whole point, like of the Halloween. And if you bundle up on top of the costume, it covers it up, which kind of ruins it. Many people don't want to do that. But, that may be what many people have to do, as this cold will be pretty, aggressive for at least, around the Halloween time frame. And if you were to actually look, wait, hold up, because according to this, yeah, okay, so there could be even some snow on some grounds, or snow on in some locations. You could see across Pennsylvania, New York, and Maine. It could be a snowstorm right before Halloween, so that would be interesting. But thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking this video. Consider subscribing to this channel. And actually, I want to show you one more thing, one last thing. Let's look at the relative humidity. It's gonna be fairly dry with this air mass. Look at that right there. Look at that giant dry air right there. That's very dry for even for October. October obviously isn't the summer anymore. The dew points aren't high, but still it's just gonna be just ridiculously dry when those cold air masses come through. There's gonna be no spurts of warm air and quite a bit of dew points as the storm systems come through. But right behind that stuff, it's just gonna be big drops in humidity and dew points, which could lead to like frost and freezes becoming fairly widespread. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking the video, consider subscribing to the channel, consider becoming a Patreon, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. See ya, bye.